Hey, peace and blessings to you. My name is Jere B. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. And so is this wonderful brother who's sitting to the left of your screen. His name is Omer Matz. Let me tell you something. This brother is 99% genius, okay? He's an EntreMusician for sure, but he's also a co-founder of a brilliant company that we're going to be talking about a little bit called EndieFlow. Now, I have to tell you 100%, I became an EndieFlow artist about 8 or 9 months ago in their infancy. And I'm intrigued by the service they provide. I'm intrigued by the type of company that they are and are not. But most of all, I'm intrigued by the company that they are actually becoming. So you as an EntreMusician, you should listen in to see how EndieFlow can make sense for you. But without further ado, let me just invite this incredible EntreMusician on. What's happening, brother Omer? How you doing today?
All is great, man. Excited to be here, and you gave me goosebumps. Thank you for all those kind words. It's amazing to hear, especially when you're really like focused on work, and then like all of a sudden somebody invites you to a webinar, and that somebody is also a good friend that we met through IndieFlow.
Yeah.
So thanks for the kind words, and all is good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, man. In fact, everything that I said was true. I'm really very intrigued by the type of company that you guys are becoming. In fact, 3 days ago, I just filled out a survey, which was grateful for me to do because you guys are always tracking as to how can we tweak and become better. And that, for a guy like me, I really am into customer service, and you guys have it flowing. Absolutely. No pun intended.
IndieFlow. Yeah, it's one of like we know we come from different startup backgrounds along with musical backgrounds, as you know. And we know that the key to like really growing and building an awesome product is through our users, and like by really nailing the exact points, the details, you have to have that communication going with your customers. And it's priceless for us, like to hop on calls, to address problems, emails, even if it's like in inconvenient times for us. Where we really, it's important for us to be on top of it, and it's a process. It starts from something, and hopefully it grows.
I was thinking that Elad, who is one of the partners in IndieFlow, he must think that, well, Jerry B is inventing problems so he can keep calling us. maybe, maybe he thinks that. But you guys
Uh,
always answer the questions, and I really appreciate that.
of course, and I'm sorry for my dog. I think she has a bit of FOMO. She'll be quiet soon.
That's quite all right. It's all good. But, here's the thing. We're going to talk about IndieFlow a little bit. But what intrigues me, Omer, is the fact that you are a musician. And there had to be something in you to want to create a company. I mean, we already have CD Baby. We have DistroKid. We have other streaming services. But there must have been something in you as a musician who said, well, here's a need here, and here's how we can fill it. What was that like? What was the notion of bringing IndieFlow to manifestation?
Yeah. So, firstly, all of those names are great companies, and they're kind of role models for us. What brought us to kind of invent IndieFlow was the notion and kind of the whole point that musicians are becoming independent. That's no secret. In the past 5, 6, 7 years, everything's becoming more and more democratized. Like it's the music industry's turn
Right.
to do that step, right? And what I felt personally as a musician when I was releasing my debut album was that I have to do so many things besides just distributing, which everybody was talking about. Distribute your tracks to all the streaming platforms, and each company is kind of trying to show how many stores they can be on, which I mean is important to be out there, but like what bothered me the most is that that's like a one-time thing. You fill in a form, you click on submit, and it goes. There's a little back and forth, sometimes technical problems, but then like whoever has done this process before knows it doesn't stop there. It doesn't even start there. It starts a lot before that, and it goes on even afterwards. So the whole idea was to kind of start streamlining processes, instead of having all those 8, 9, 10 different tools that you use as a musician. It can be your Google spreadsheets, your Dropbox, your distribution service, your promotion service, your analytics, and so on and so on. Registering your tracks with PROs, all those really important stuff. And it feels like there are some tools out there that are more like suited for labels, for the larger labels, and no one was really addressing independent musicians. So that was the idea, like the vision that a song isn't just like distribute a song and that's it. A song has to be nurtured. It has a process within its own. It has a life. It starts at the idea or creation, it goes back and forth with team members. You kind of like collaborate on it. Afterwards, you prepare it for release. Right. When you prepare that release, you need to register and administrate it. You need to copyright it. You need to register it with your PROs. You need to promote it. What happens after it's out? Right. So that's basically the idea. You mentioned before we started recording the session about sync and licensing, which is also a huge part. Today there are a lot of options out there for independent musicians, to find sync libraries. You don't have to have a publisher. Right. Websites out there. That's another process, another thing that, us musicians have to deal with along the way.
Correct.
So, yeah, that's where the idea was brought to life, kind of from that need of having a centralized platform and having everything in one place.
So then it's safe to say that you used your own personal artistry and the steps that you were walking through as an artist to kind of design EndieFlow. Would that be safe to say that?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. It was part of the process, and I couldn't have done it without my partner, who's not here, Elad, who also brought his background.
Good man.
Excellent man and excellent co-founder. We were lucky to find each other, and yeah, it was kind of that brainstorm. And he brought his background. He also comes from a background of film and arts and from a startup world. So we kind of like built this thing around that need. After like researching and surveying a bunch of artists before even writing one line of code, then we did a lot of surveying and kind of seeing if is this only like my personal experience, or is it something that's also, something that everyone deals with? Because it's great that a founder is creating a tool, around his pain point or her pain point. But essentially, if it's not a problem that a lot of people have, then it doesn't have a lot of chances to last for a long time.
That's right. Now, how did you get started? How did you get started in music?
Wow, music is my passion for a long time. Like after when I was like 15 years ago, I'd say, started like going out a bit with my music. I always wrote music when I was like a teenager, but at age 21, 22, I decided to start studying it, and I studied in London for a year in Goldsmiths College of Music, excellent school. And afterwards, I decided that I want to continue with that. So I came back home to Tel Aviv, to my hometown, and continued studying here music. I never really had the kind of the courage to sing on a stage and like to do my own stuff. So I was always like backstage. I had a local business. I worked like in all kinds of jobs. I've done like composition for films, for short films. But then I decided like this is my true self. Like when I started getting closer to 30, then you start to do these
analysis.
Yeah, exactly. Analysis. Am I fulfilled? Am I happy? Time is of the essence.
Right.
No, when life starts catching up with you and you wake up and you say, okay, I have stuff that I want to do in life. You can't hide forever.
Right.
So that's what really led towards the creation. And the creation is what led to IndieFlow. So like the album creation, what I mean, like the personal songs and the compositions, bringing it out there, and yeah.
Wow. Well, maybe I didn't do my homework diligently enough. I saw several videos, but how many albums did you produce prior to forming IndieFlow?
No, you did great research. It was one.
It was just the one?
You
Okay.
got it. You got that. Yeah, it was one, but I worked like a lot of my friends are musicians. I worked in the last 10 years, I think, in all different kinds of music frameworks, with musicians, and like it's a very familiar world for me. So it wasn't easy to produce my own album. Like I had producers, but that process wasn't easy. But it's all very familiar. Like the
Mhm.
area is always like I'm there for the last decade, I'd say, even more, 10, 15 years.
Now, what is your principal instrument? Are you a pianist or guitarist or?
I'd say more of a pianist, singer-songwriter. Yeah, that's mostly what I really enjoy doing is writing songs and composing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Now, so the style of music, because again, I'm in USA, Ohio. You're in Tel Aviv, and I thought the music was very, very melodic and kind of magnetic. You had strings, and there's very much a orchestral thread that goes through your music. Do you have a style or a genre that you classify it as, or
Um,
what would you call it?
well, yeah, it's kind of, today everything's like a blend of a lot of things, right? It's kind of like a mixed salad of genres. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of classical, electronic, folk, a bit of folk into it. Like I love live drums, I love beats, I love electronic beats, I love the sound of strings, which brings me back to my college days of film scoring. Like the whole cinematic atmosphere is something that creating kind of a soundscape is kind of always what I was aiming for.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's very much part of the world. I would say kind of a cinematic indie rock, if that makes sense.
That's excellent. I like that. Cinematic indie rock. Yeah.
I,
Now you now own that genre.
Great. Yeah, so that's the new genre, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody wants to join in, then let's do a playlist.
Hey, that's what's up. No, it's really good, man. Really, and your lyrics, I found them to be very introspective. You know, they were not. Forgive me, and I'm not being disrespectful to any other artists, but Omer, I found that your lyrics were more introspective and not so surface.
Hmm.
You seem to be diving in a little bit. Where does that come from? I told you this was going to be a deep conversation.
Wow, man, you did your research. Yeah, wow. To be completely honest, I think that a lot of the songwriting is really like something of a spiritual journey. A lot of my songwriting, it's not like necessarily, it's something that I'm trying to solve with myself, I think,
Mm,
in
very good.
depth. And I'm trying to also communicate it so that other people relate. I really, for me, as an artist, I know that some artists don't really care about that, but for me as an artist, this is a medium of communication, and it's really important for me to communicate. So first of all, uh, that the fact that you understood the words and like the whole concept of the songs is kind of it's where I was aiming for. And yeah, it's kind of like the whole. I would say my songs aren't love songs. Not that that's a bad thing in any way. It's
Sure.
just like my songs are more, I think, of yeah, kind of like a journey, something like you're trying to solve with yourself, something like you're digging into a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's absolutely excellent. I appreciate you explaining that to me because I really did enjoy it. I'm the type of person that if I don't like something, you know, I'm not going to sit here and try to flatter you or brown nose you. I will congratulate you on your effort. But, you know, I did find myself, okay, well, what about this next video? Or what about the lyrics here? Because there was one that did not have any visuals. It was just a still. So that was cool for me because I could just get into the music and listen to it as if it were on radio and kind of dig in a little deeper. So that was really cool. So I appreciate you sharing your heart. Now, when you,
Listening.
I'm sorry, go for it.
No, I'm saying I appreciate you listening. That's
Yeah, thank you. And don't, I hope, here's what I would hope. I would hope that the deep work that you guys are doing with IndieFlow would not inhibit your artistry, so that you would continue to create music, because I believe in my heart as an artist that that's really what the world needs. Now, we're in this global situation. This pandemic has affected all of us, no matter where we are on the globe. Here in the United States, we are dealing with political unrest, even post-election. And I am that guy at this age and this stage in my life that really feels that music can still speak to encourage, to inspire, to enlighten others, even in the midst of chaos. That's just how I feel.
I think it's 100% true, and we do have kind of like a mission, right? It's maybe kind of a maybe kind of like an ideal or a romantic ideal that is not always actionable, like
Yeah.
because of what you said and because everything is really chaotic, especially, you know, like as time goes by, then you really need to like focus and remind yourself what's important, and especially like when um, when S hits the fan. I don't know if
Right.
I can say
So it's a family show.
so you know it's especially times like these that I feel that our job is important. Also, we see that a lot of artists are really focusing now on creation, like because, for example, gigs, you know, all the venues are closed and people don't have where to perform.
Correct.
They're taking a lot of this. They're taking this period of time as an advantage to kind of like really dig in deep and kind of like, okay, now it's creation time. You know, like I feel that a lot of artists, we have our seasons, right? You have like your season of inspiration, and you have like okay, I feel that now I'm in the moment. There are artists that practice it like a muscle, like a gym, and they write songs every day, which I that's my goal to, you know. We talked about goals until the age of 30. That's my goal for the age of 40, I think, is to
Sure.
every day be able to write that one song.
Yeah.
But what is happening is a very interesting thing. Like I feel like a lot of artists are now focusing on creation. A lot of songs are being distributed. Wow,
Yeah.
it's like hundreds of thousands per week
Yeah.
distributed, like to Spotify. I'd
Sure.
say I think the right number is around 160,000 or even 200,000, but
Mhm.
don't catch me on the number. And yeah, it's like a mass of content. It was also before the pandemic.
Yeah. True.
But we do. It is important to keep creating and really be truthful. You know, I feel like it is a medium of truth, and
Yes.
it's something that's very sensitive. Like
Correct.
ears don't lie. If somebody like is out of tune, you hear it. You if you feel like it connects to your heart, it connects to your feeling. Some songs are more about like connecting to like the mental side of
Correct.
like of the lyrics, maybe of the rhythm. Some just go directly into your heart, and I feel that these are a lot of times these are processes that happen like in the back of your mind. It's not like something that you actively think about. So
Correct.
to
Correct.
answer very longly about your question,
No, no, no.
I
No,
think
that's
the bottom line here is that that you know essentially being truthful with your art will find its way like to the right people, and even if it hits, you know, 10 people, it's something. It's always something. Like 10 people that love your music and come to your show, that's already I know. I don't know. For me, it's very valuable, I think.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. In fact, you said three things there that I think which really embodies the EntreMusician and why we even exist. And number one is, you know, even before the pandemic and into 2018, when we got the idea to do the EntreMusician, the one thing that was really interesting was the fact that, you know, in this climate, as the record industry, the music industry moves to this new plateau, we have to realize that we're responsible for our own careers, obviously. And we're not just musicians, we're not just artists, but we are entrepreneurs. We're EntreMusicians, and we have to be responsible for absolutely everything that happens in our career. And we have to have the mindset, discipline, and focus of that. The second thing is in the sea of content of the 200,000 songs that Spotify receives or Apple Music receives and all of that, there has to be quality content. You and I have to be responsible for making sure it's not just content for content's sake, because that's everywhere. You can get that everywhere, but you have to make sure that you're making an impact. And I think that bodes with the third, you know, statement that you made, because generally, artists and musicians want 2 million subscribers, they want 5 million subscribers, but 10 people
Also,
that you can touch and transform with your music, how deep is that, that you have a fan or a follower or a friend for life because they really connect with what you're trying to say, and you just don't have this mass. And there are a lot of artists that feel, well, I don't have 100,000 subscribers on my channel. So what? You have 200. Are you loyal to the 200? Are you giving them quality content that they can connect with? You know what I mean?
the approach, 100%. The approach of like grassroots, of really growing from bottom to up, and really like getting fan by their hand. You know, that's the work that I feel that because of the cultural world that we're living in, like the culture of instant gratification, and
Right.
you know, there's a whole new generation of just people who care about what it says next to their follower account, and you know, it's changing a bit the way that people really connect with content in general. Like, you know, not even, it can be even Netflix. You know, I think everybody in these times are kind of like saturated. They're like, okay, I finished all of my Netflix library. I have nothing to watch, you know, because you just binge it, and you watch every night like 3, 4 episodes. I mean, I don't, but
Some
hopefully
people do. Yeah.
people do. I do that like I would say 3, 4 a week, but still, it's something that, you know, we never had that access before.
Sure.
And I think quality still is key. Like, there is all that noise about like getting your followers, getting subscribers, and you know, you have to like get there, and that's like a goal. But like, quality will float
Yeah.
eventually. Like, there will always be like um, maybe less quality things that float, maybe stuff that are more commercial, maybe stuff that are more popular because of a trend or something like that. But yeah, I think like true quality gets out there,
It
and
does.
yeah,
And it's the only thing that matters. You know, you can eat junk food, or you can
exactly,
be a more discerning and eat something, you know, that is going to really sustain your health.
exactly. It's a great analogy. It's like yeah, it's exactly that.
Well, that's why I called early on, and this has been, you know, I'm celebrating 30 years and maybe 35 years in music publishing, but we called our first publishing company
A lot
Soul
of things
Food
happen in
Music.
35 years.
Yeah, a lot of things have happened. You know, I've gotten grayer. My children are grown, you know, but we called our company Soul Food Music because we wanted it to really feed the soul. And in fact, you know, just to those of you who are watching this now, we've just completed a series on the EntreMusician, which was called The Spirit of Music. And we interviewed 5 or 6 different EntreMusicians around the globe to get their perspective on that metaphysical aspect of music. And you said it, Omer, when we were talking about quality content, and that the quality floats, is that there's something there that you hear. You can hear when a person's out of tune, not just when they're singing or playing out of tune, but when their heart is out of tune. There's something there that you can feel like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And so there's definitely a spirit to music that we should pay attention to, because I think that we've been entrusted and it's been downloaded into us to share with the rest of the world something of great value. It's a sacred treasure, and we shouldn't take it lightly. And that's where I come around to hearing your music again. Even though you're saying, I'm on a journey, I'm on this journey, I'm asking these questions, I'm introspective about it, but I'm trying to present it in a way where it connects with other people who may have similar questions as I do. And that's where I applaud you, brother.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I feel that it's it's a race. Like I think that everybody feels like they're in a race, and you come to a point where you just feel like you're kind of running in circles. This goes back to the point, the last question, and it's really important. Like, if we all can kind of just try and disconnect from that race and like really try and build ourselves and build like music, and not just hope for millions of streams and just like want to promote, and kind of just manage yourself properly and build yourself like step by step, stone by stone.
Yeah.
I think I would like to be hopeful that that's where the industry will go essentially, but maybe I'm a bit naive and optimistic.
It's good. It's good to be optimistic. It's good to be naive, because I think, and I really mean that, because George Clinton said, "Don't try to know everything, because that takes away the treasure of discovery."
Nice.
And that's a great place to segue into IndieFlow, because I think, brother, if you have this heart, as you guys have built this company, that if there's that treasure of discovery, I think, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to any of the other companies that are out there, but I think they were built on just a structure of, this is how the industry works, this is how you distribute music, this is what the musicians need, and they put it on autopilot. But I don't think that you guys are going to build your company in that way. I don't mean to be naive, but I am optimistic that you are going to begin to discover the other plateaus that are going to draw more musicians to you when they consider their options.
Yeah, I think like our whole vision is kind of to like, our whole statement is to guide, rather than dictate. It's we believe there's like, we've spoken to so many artists like in the last year, hundreds. I'm talking more than like 600-700 artists, phone calls, like on the phone. Every day we have like 3, 4, 5 calls with musicians, and the main takeaway is that there are different types of musicians and different types of goals, and each person like makes their, essentially like has their own mixture of their career. One person can be that live performer that's gigging all the time. One could be the publisher, like you guys, and look for sync opportunities while doing production for others. And each person has their own kind of path. And what we feel is that it's really like a matter of guiding, giving the tools, and you as a musician have the tools, use them like the way that's correct for your career and like for your path. Because there's no one way to run a business, right? Like, one business can take 2 businesses that do exactly the same thing, like sell the same product. They both probably are doing stuff differently, and they got to the places that they got to, from different paths, from different beginnings.
Sure.
So it's kind of like just giving the toolbox and be able to guide in a structured way, and like to be able to really support, and not say this is how things work. Yeah. Especially in an age where this industry is just in a tunnel that you never know like what's waiting for us in the other side.
It's true. That's true. So let's talk a little bit about the team that you've built for this. We've already kind of introduced Elad, and he didn't want to be a part of this conversation, but I'll get him the next time. You let him know that.
He's the backline. He likes to be in the backstage, and he does an amazing job there.
He does. He does. He's a great guy. I really have felt a strong rapport with him, and I appreciate him. But you have others on your team as well. Who are they, and how do they contribute to the structure of IndieFlow?
Yeah, so we have Julia, who's also responding to, like, she's on the team email, customer success, but mainly our designer that designs. She's super creative, and she designed the platform, the UI and UX. We have Pete, Pietro Majovka. He is our CTO. He's actually Brazilian, who's also a brilliant human being. And we have another developer named Yuval Baumatz, who's also like, we're very blessed to have like a team of talented professionals. My co-founder, partner, Elad Pankovsky, who you mentioned, we divide the work between us. Like, I'm the CEO, but like it's not like, it doesn't really matter the titles. We're like pretty much doing everything together.
Yeah. Entrepreneurs.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how it should be, you know. And we also have like our we can call it sales rep and customer success that helps us every now and then. Chelsea from Santa Monica. And yeah, we're a team of 6, hopefully soon expanding to more. Fingers crossed, you know.
So you're truly a global company. You have so you work using the technology. You're not all in one building at one place, right?
Yeah, well, nobody's now in one building, one place. But yeah, we're kind of trying to establish ourselves more in the U.S. We have an office in Santa Monica, but we're also thinking of establishing a presence in Nashville, which is a great city.
Sure it is. Sure.
And yeah, you know, like no borders, just you know, everyone can be anywhere right now.
Right. Right. Making it happen.
Yeah, as long as you know things, you have a process that's working, and as long as you're bringing value, I think yeah, you have a system.
Absolutely. So now, how at this juncture, we're recording in 2020 November. How many subscribers? I would imagine that do you call your artists subscribers? I say I'm an IndieFlow artist, so I don't know what I am. But so how many artists? I guess that would be the way to ask it. Do you have either signed to or subscribing to your service as of this broadcast here?
Yeah, so we have around above 3,000 artists subscribed.
Excellent.
And yeah, we're now what's exciting. Like I know I don't want to talk a lot about like plans and so on, but just to say one of the very interesting discoveries for us through conversations with people, with our users like yourself and other users are that is that musicians work in teams. Like, it's not a secret. Like, everybody works with another person, whether they're working on a track, whether it's their manager, whether it's their publisher. And we're now really focusing on building that to really facilitate that. So IndieFlow right now currently can facilitate one artist.
Yeah.
And we're very excited to announce that soon we're going to launch a version for teams. So you can manage kind of the workflow between yourselves and back and forths.
That's beautiful.
Which will also, we will add also artist managers and labels and publishers to have like these overview accounts. So we're now focusing a lot on that collaborative thing, because all of these people that subscribe, which we're really blessed and thankful for, I'd say around at least 80-90% from the people we've spoken to have another person or somebody somehow in the loop, you know, whether it's a
Certainly.
producer or,
Certainly.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that will be phase two or phase three for you, and I know that you're going to continue to grow. My question would be then, Omer, is um, so the entre musician who is watching this right now, we've tried in every way to keep it natural and not make it an infomercial, but there is that point where there is a consideration on their part, and they've been online and they've been looking at the other services. What would you say to them that would help them to make that step of consideration more to IndieFlow than they would another service?
Hmm. Well, a few things, and trying to like say this in a modest way, in the most modest way as possible. I think technically, in terms of technology, I think that if you're a musician who is doing more than distribution, okay, then we IndieFlow would be the address, because we don't just, like I said at the beginning, we don't just see the process as a one stop, like press submit, your track is distributed, that's it.
Right.
Talking about combining project management tools with your music operation tools,
Mhm.
and kind of making this into a mixture of like that communicates with one another, as opposed to services that have like either they're single focused on like, I don't know, maybe an action page, or like Linktree,
Yeah.
which also a great service,
Mhm.
or other platforms that offer it kind of like in a fractured way. So you have like, it's kind of a list of things, of different tools that you can use if you want, but like,
Right.
so to summarize, project management with music operations, along with guidance and streamlining between those areas.
Absolutely. And I really did have enjoyed the webinars that you have hosted. I found them to be very educational and enlightening. And boy, this is the age
Do one
where
with you,
entree.
Jerry.
I'm sorry.
We need to do one together.
We will. We will. Definitely. Definitely. My heart.
IndieFlow hosted one,
Hey,
yeah.
say it again. I'm sorry.
And IndieFlow hosted one. Now you're hosting us. Next, we'll host you.
It would be fantastic. It would be my honor just to really step in because again, and I have to say this to piggyback on what Omer has said. If I'm looking at you, and I'm grateful that you're part of the Entre Musician channel and the community. I want to bring to stage people, tools, resources that I am using because I'm not that marketing guy that says, hey, this guy paid me X amount of dollars to say good things about them. I mean, if I'm going to put my music is like my children. And if I'm going to put my music and the music that others have entrusted to me on the platform, I'm going to be asking questions. And you guys know I've asked some very simple, what about this? Well, how do you get paid if you're offering this to me? I mean, there's been penetrating questions. And I want you who's viewing this to know that I made the decision to come onto the platform of IndieFlow because I find it to be the most natural way that works for me. I've used another company since 2002, since Sound Doctrine's first CD. And they used to be that type of company, but they have amassed so many different artists that you are a number and your email may not get answered the week that you sent it. It's a sad, sad
The week,
state.
the week that you sent.
You know what I mean? It's a sad, sad state because you want your answer now. You don't want to talk to a robot. You don't want to chat to some unknown face. You want to be able to go, here's a problem I'm having. How can you help me? And they've been getting back to me just like that. So I mean that wholeheartedly. So if you're just starting out and you're just beginning your career, your first song, your first CD, your first project, and you're going, well, how can I get this to the masses and yet retain this network of knowledge? IndieFlow is the company for you. I'm saying that because I found it to be true for me for these 8-9 months, and I'm just looking at greater things to come. That's the truth.
It's amazing to hear, and thanks, especially when it's coming from somebody as experienced as yourself. And yeah, it's what we kind of take pride in. We know from firsthand that being a musician feels a lot of times being alone. Like,
Yeah.
although you might have that 1-2% people that we spoke about earlier in your team, you really feel like you don't have guidance, you don't know
Yeah.
what to do. And yeah, one of the main things for us is like to be able to bring that support. Also, it's a way for us to learn how to be better. Like, cliches aside, it is true. Like, when I get on a call at 12 a.m. with a customer who is like, my release, I need to submit my song for a release, and it's urgent, and like he can't upload the song because he's having these problems. Um, and yeah, that's like how I can learn how to improve also our product, and it's a cycle. It rewards you essentially, because every challenge has like a secret or information that can really like help your company grow. So we really see this as a win-win situation. We really want to be there for artists, for our users, because we know it's lacking out there. Like, the industry is very much doesn't have a lot of support. You have podcasts, you have blogs, but you know and yeah, like you said, and I'm happy you brought that up, because it's one of our main goals, to be able to bring that uh, quality, responsiveness, and
Yeah.
customer support. So yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely necessary. And I wanted to make sure that I did not mishear you earlier, because I know that you have a passion for cinema, for film. Do you think that licensing will be one of the components that you bring onto the platform in the future? I didn't want
100
to mishear that.
100% it will be there. We know it's like a lot of artists have been asking us about it. Firstly, we have been we already started building partnerships with publishers, and places where we can find opportunities for our users. But currently, we're focusing more on the project management, and later on with the opportunities aspect.
Absolutely. Now, Omer, was there a question or a particular topic that you thought I was asking? Hey, when I get on this conversation with Jere, I want him to ask me this, and I haven't asked. Was there
Uh,
anything?
no, I think I mean, we've spoken before, right? Like, we hop on phone calls here and there, and you're always like available for us, which we're really appreciative about. And I kind of saw this as another one of those conversations, only like maybe recorded. So I didn't come with many expectations. I was surprised about the music and the songs that you listen to my songs, which is really kudos for that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And yeah, like, about the platform, I guess, like you said it best. That's like what we're focusing all of our energy on, and we want the experience to be like quality experience. We want to be the next big player of the industry, and we're not ashamed to say that.
That's good.
And
That's
I
good.
think that yeah, like, you know, uh, we are looking for the entrepreneurs or intra musicians such as yourself, who are seeing themselves as that business, as that ongoing thing, like, also to store their files, also to register their files, publish their files, distribute, promote. If you see yourself as a business, then we can really connect, because also we're musicians and we're also a business. So but I think you said it all like very better than I can ever say in words. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to say about like your initiative, which is also very inspiring, and what you do. Like, I love the variety. Your spectrum is very wide in terms of like the people that you interview, and like the aspects. And um, and and I also really connect to that, because that's exactly what we're seeing, that there's so many musicians that are different, but we all have kind of a thing in common here.
That's
We're all
right.
like trying to make music our main thing,
That's right.
and give that the place of respect, like to put that in the front.
Yeah.
And I think the EntreMusician is great. It's a great channel, a great like initiative, and I'm very happy like that. The world made us meet in some weird way, like
Right.
coincidentally, but maybe it's not a coincidence. You never
That's
know.
correct. That's correct. No, it's definitely purpose filled. The older I get, and the more I look in the rearview mirror, I see what I thought were coincidences were more God's purpose, that this had to happen. I had to meet this person because I love to create win-win opportunities, even on chance meetings. And there was something about IndieFlow, because again, I'm not going to disrespect the service that I've been a part of since 2002, but I'm moving my catalog, all of it, over to IndieFlow because it just makes sense to do that. I think the industry as a whole, and I don't want to give a long response to what you just said. I appreciate what you said, but from an entrepreneur's standpoint and an EntreMusician, there was a time where you could not take your business side seriously because you always had a manager, you always had a record label, you always had somebody who was looking out for you. But as the ebb and flow changed, right, you have to be responsible for who you are. So from this channel, we want to bring all of the resources that are necessary for you to be able to be responsible for who you are. And IndieFlow, I found really in a short period of time. Now, we haven't been together 5, 7, 12 years. We will, but in the short period of time, I thought this makes absolute sense. And we have to continue to connect and continue to build our relationship. That's why I had to invite you on.
Yes.
I had to.
Likewise, it's a mutual feeling, and we really appreciate you, and all your feedback is amazing. You're one of our star users, and I'm not just saying that because we're here on the webinar. We're all together in this strange industry out of love, I would say. Like
Yes.
Out of passion and out of love, it sometimes gets very competitive and very like hard to see it. But like I think that's what it has deep down. Like we all want music in our lives.
Absolutely.
So simple as that.
Absolutely.
So first of all, thank you so much for the stage over here, and it's just one of the first, I think, milestones of our collaborations together.
Definitely.
And like it's great to hear. I didn't know even like 60-70% of the stuff that you just said here. I didn't know. So yeah. It's also good to discover those things. And yeah, I think this was great. This whole webinar was really awesome.
Definitely. So if you've been listening, this is Omer Matz. I'm sorry, Omer Matz. I say that people screw up my name all the time, which is why it's just Jere B. I won't tell you my last name because you'll destroy it. but anyway, Omer is in Tel Aviv right now. I'm in Ohio, in Youngstown, and I'm grateful that across the ocean we can still find common ground. He's doing great things with this IndieFlow platform. Please go check it out. Check it out today as soon as this is done. This is an ultra EntreMusician. Elad and his whole team, Julie, they're all great. I've been able to dialogue with them, and they do what they say they're going to do. So that's what you need. So, Omer, thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, man. And it feels so genuine coming from you. And like you said, not an infomercial, and like it just feels real. And I really, really appreciate the words. So thanks for having us, and thank you for everything.
It's my honor. But thank you for joining us. My name is Jere B. This is Omer Matz. We are EntreMusicians. But you know what? So are you. So we'll see you next time. Peace and blessings to you, and have a great day.
Peace.
Peace.